This week, we chronicle the numerous film projects announced by Lucasfilm in the last decade, as well as dig into what's actually coming down the pipeline, such as the Mando and Grogu film and the mysterious Shawn Levy feature. With the Mandalorian and Grogu fast approaching, we'll soon find out if telling stories between saga films is a good direction for the brand, whereas some of us argue an entirely new era of the timeline is needed to capture the mythic potential only Star Wars can provide. We end our discussion with some predictions for what we might see in terms of project reveals and announcements at Star Wars Celebration 2025. Enjoy responsibly. Back to another week of Cantina Chronicles. Cantina Chronicles is a weekly Cantina crawl across the Star Wars galaxy where we have robust conversations about all things Star Wars, including news, notes, and theory, synergizing all media. Grab a seat and let's talk Star Wars. Hey guys, we're back again. How are you doing?
Good. Feel like we haven't seen each other for a long time.
I know.
I'm ready for some robust Star Wars talk.
Yes, I'm ready to synergize.
As I was reading that, I'm like, why didn't I ask Grant to write this?
No. I actually it's more fun. Had more pizzazz. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm always open to notes.
No, it's all about the delivery. You got that down. It's great.
Oh man,
I know the words matter, Adam. Words matter.
Do they?
No, it's a joy to be back in the cantina.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm spoiled.
I got a random thing to start with. I think last week on the episode we were talking a bit about like Jedis and how we just kind of need to see like Jedis being Jedi and getting some wins.
Yeah.
That comic just came out.
Oh, really?
The Jedi Knights #1 just came out.
Yeah, I've got
and that's what it is, and it's pretty great. I don't know if you got a chance to read it, Grant, but like we get a lot of Qui-Gon, we get a lot of like Mace and Yoda, and like they're planning and they're like carrying stuff out, and like totally we get like young. Yes. Like we get Obi-Wan as a Padawan.
It's just called Jedi Knights too, which is to me, just seeing the word Jedi next to night makes me so happy. And whenever I see that, if I could see that in a crawl soon, that would be great. Like the idea of just Jedi Knights, Jedi Knight, like I'd love it.
Yeah,
I love that.
And we'll cover it when the first arc ends. And what I liked about it, what I was not excited when I heard it announced, it sounded like it was just going to be single stories and it wasn't going to have an overarching narrative, but apparently it does. Like the first issue sets up the entire like here's the thing they're trying to fix, and every episode or every comic after that's going to be a pair of Jedi with like how it connects to kind of this larger story. So super fun.
I love
there's a thing I love because they introduce each Jedi and then they have like a 2-word descriptor for each Jedi, which I kind of love. Like the wise one. Like there's like it's like
already a legend.
Yeah, already a legend. Like I just love the descriptors they choose for each one. It's really great.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Fun. Methodical with a binary brain.
Yeah. Great.
Yoda, master of masters.
Yeah. Do you have the master of
your favorite rapper's favorite rapper?
Is Yarl Poof
bio right there?
Is Yarl Poof on that page? Well, I can't remember what they said about Yarl Poof, but I love it.
I would love to see Qui-Gon Jinn, Maverick. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maverick. That fits.
Yeah, we got Jedi's Jediing. It's great.
Right on.
I'm looking for Poof.
Yeah, I'm looking for more Ki-Adi-Mundi, especially after that last novel that we read, and Yariel Poof, because they're like downright slapsticky in that novel.
Yariel Poof, Quirmian, deceptively serene.
Deceptively serene. Wow. Yeah, I love that. I forgot. I could not remember the wording, but I loved it. Yeah, that last book. Yeah.
Right on. Anyways, we digress. I'm looking forward to that comic. That's going to be awesome. Today, we are going to talk about the outlay of movies and sort of when they're going to happen and what are all the possible feature films that have been listed that we could be looking at.
The development pipeline chicken.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, because I think it's good. It's also, if you're a football fan, which I am right now, you're like thinking about draft picks and trades and, free agency. And this kind of actually feels a little bit like that, where we're going to go through like what are we definitely going to get, and then as we progress, sort of what might we still get yet to come. Sound fun?
Fantastic.
Love it.
So we have to start with Mando and Grogu, right? Which I hope is still a working title.
I hope so. I don't know. We're like a little over a year out, so I feel like it's getting a little late to start changing names. We'll see.
We haven't seen a poster yet, though, and remember what I just said, Adam. Words matter, and
words matter.
Like we could use funner words than Mando and Grogu.
Yeah, that is like.
Is it the Mandalorian and Grogu? With
yes, I believe that is the working title. I refuse to think it's the final title.
Okay.
But on other movies, I'll refuse to think that it's not the working title. That's how it works.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. They have a. Did we talk? There's an official release date. Like it's now locked in officially, May 22nd, 2026.
Right. Wow. We're almost a year out.
We're almost there.
Almost there.
Exactly there. We're gonna blink, and then some light fascism, and then some aggressive fascism, and then we'll get a movie. And hopefully, as soon as
so we'll we'll go to a movie. We'll hope
put on our gas masks.
Walk out.
Oh man, it's amazing how much of the this era of Star Wars has been surrounded by this. Anyway, I don't want to get down that whole thing. It's like,
meanwhile, we're just forking over to the Empire.
Anyways,
the prequels. You guys all made fun of the prequels, and now look at it. Look at the political story it was telling. It was weaving
trade routes.
Yep. I mean, democracy definitely dies with thunder and applause.
Tariffs.
Yeah.
The freaking movie starts with tariffs. Nobody.
Yeah. I'm really feeling the if you're not with us, you're our enemy.
Yeah. Have you guys started reading the novel yet? The one that we're going to cover.
No, the Mask of Fear.
Mask of Fear. Yeah.
No, I haven't started it yet.
Are you in it?
You
should see just the first page. It just pulls two quotes, and the second quote is, "This is how
democracies die with thunderous
applause." Oh wow!
But there's they go into two questions, and I can't wait to just talk about these two questions.
Should we just call it now?
If a movie started with like just the Padme quote, like but it's like an in galaxy quote that it's pulling, and then it just started with applause and pulled in from the Senate of a later date, like I would just be like, this is a movie. We're in.
Yeah. I'm this Filoni movie, I'm prepared to be pleasantly surprised. I think it's going to be better than we think it's going to be.
I don't have any fears about that movie. Does that make sense? Like it just seems like a fastball down the middle. Like it seems real. I get why they're doing it. Like it totally feels like a corporate move, but not that sounds really cynical, but it's going to be fun. I mean, Favreau is he's just look at Iron Man. He's made one of the best action adventure, start an entire universe around how good. I always remember going Iron Man with 4 people, be the biggest comic nerd who knew every reference down to a person who's never even heard of Iron Man. And we all walked out of that movie going, that was a great movie. That takes the ability, special ability. So I trust that movie's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fine. I mean, we'll see. I don't know how much it's going to go into lore, if anything, but maybe we just need a good adventure movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah.
It should be a fun ride at least. And
I think at worst,
who knows where it's going to go in terms of lore, right? But
yeah.
I really don't know. They could go full lore. They could go no lore. I mean, I don't know. They could veer into the Mandalorian.
They could do the Mandalore.
Yeah.
They could. They
veer towards heir to the Empire sort of stuff. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but is there going to be another Filoni movie? Is there going to be a Mando season 4?
Yeah. All good questions. I mean, and it's funny I'm saying it because the new season 3 was chock-a-block with lore. They don't shy away from it in the show. So maybe they'll trust that everyone entering the theaters watched the show, but I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've just felt why not just do the Mandalore story? You've already set it up for 3 seasons. You could just sort of dive into it in a big way with that movie. But to me, you need Sabine, and she's in another galaxy right now.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm thinking to myself, how do you get Sabine involved in that sort of new exploration of who's the new Mandalorian?
I mean, you can do it without her. I mean, I know you've got, it makes most sense to you, and I think it makes probably the most sense to me as well. I just, if you think it's a wild card to have Grogu be that, but I mostly just think they've already saved Mandalore. What is the Mandalore going to do if he returns? You know, it's like they already recaptured their place. Like, what's the Mandalore gonna do? Like,
I mean, build it up,
unite
form,
the Mandalorian.
Unite them,
unite all the diaspora.
Yeah, unite the Mandalorian diaspora, exactly.
So there was a rumor that I was kind of thinking about that was flying around before this movie was announced when they were talking about Mandalorian season 4, that and it's unfounded, it has nothing, but it just seemed like interesting. And I heard multiple outlets saying, yes, this is actually the last season of The Mandalorian because they're going to start doing The Mandalore. Like they were going to do a name change kind of rethink. So part of me is just like, is that, I mean, we'll talk about the Filoni movie later. Is that the move? It'd be really interesting if this movie ends with like title track, like, you know, like James Bond will return, or just like The Mandalore will return. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's what we get at the end of this. It's just kind of setting things
or
up.
At the very end of this, they do that thing where the title font crumbles away.
The Mandalore, the Mandalore burns through the Mandalorian. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they're doing it.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Ben would pop.
Yeah. I mean, if you're ever going to have him, and now I'm blanking on it, so you're going to have to help me here. Mythosaur. If you have him ever riding, or anyone riding a Mythosaur, it has to happen on the big screen, right? Like, I don't want to see that. So I'm like, you're going to do that either now or you're going to do it in the Filoni movie. Because if you don't do that in a movie and you wait for Mandalorian season 4, I'm not going to be happy. Like if you do that, like episode 5 of a TV show, no.
All right, I'm just going to put my money on the table now. The Mandalore is going to be Grogu.
That would be a fun way to go.
That'd be fun. I wouldn't be shocked.
I would laugh.
I would chuckle.
I know you would, especially in his tiny little armor.
I would like it.
His tiny little Mandalore helmet.
But all the adults agreeing to that would just be the most hilarious circumstance of all time.
Right.
They're like, isn't he cute? He's our leader.
We have heard, or I have heard rumors that Grogu talks a little bit more. He has a couple words in the movie. So, you know, it'd be funny if essentially it's just like a couple of words, but he's still wise of his years.
Just like Dada.
I don't know. Lightsaber.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. Could be. Who knows? But I just think
dark side, that would be concerning.
Or just like fear.
Yeah. Honestly, I want that now. I almost want like the darkest stuff.
Yeah.
He's like April from Parks and Rec.
He teased that for a while where he was like, oh, whoa, is he gonna be dark?
Yeah, when he like,
what's gonna happen here?
Horse choking people.
It's just really dark.
Yeah. No, it'd be interesting. I just don't want it to be Din Djarin, and I like that character quite a bit, but like that's not who he is. Like it'd be weird for him suddenly have to be like, I'm a leader of everyone. Like just that's not who he is. He's the trainer. He's the Obi-Wan, right? He's the person who finds the person.
Right. It really wouldn't. Well, yeah, someone's got to ride that Mythosaur. I don't know though. Maybe it was just a symbol. Like I think it would be kind of cool actually if like the Darksaber never gets reforged and like listen, it played its part. The Mythosaur played its part, was a signal to what's her name, to Bo-Katan, to reunite the, you know, and then they just move on. And they'll let the Legends people have all the Mandalore legends. I don't know.
So here's the thing: you can always do a cheat with Legends and with things. So here's what I just thought: reforged means bringing many pieces back together. Correct?
Yes.
So what if they do a cheat where the Mandalore actually is a collective of individuals? So what if the Mandalore is actually Din Djarin, Grogu, Bo-Katan, and Sabine ruling together, right? And we have reforged as the Darksaber. Don't necessarily like it, but I could the armor. Yep.
What if Ezra comes back? What if Ezra comes back and then, you know, he goes on a mission with Bo-Katan and Din Djarin or something?
I'd love that.
They're like, who's this Jedi guy? And this is echoes of Tar Vizsla, and it's very similar to like what, like in the time someone will ride the Mythosaur. Maybe he rides the Mythosaur even, you know.
I love that.
But then you have a whole thing where Sabine is actually the true one, destined to be.
Yeah.
Grant, I kind of love this because you know what Ezra Bridger loves? Helmets.
Yes, helmets.
He loves helmets.
He does love helmets, and he loves animals. He's real good with animals, right?
Yeah.
So you got
They who ride the Mythosaur, and it's just Ezra Bridger does it.
I could see him being like, you know what, I could,
because he's going back to the galaxy, and there's not a lot of context other than Hera knows him, and is Hera going to tell Din and Bo-Katan everything about him, or is he just going to sort of like do things like use the Force and just do Jedi things in front of them?
Yeah,
I don't know, but I mean, it'd be interesting. The thing is, I could also see them doing it if it was Rebels, which has a lighter tone at times than the Filoniverse. But like, if I could see him accidentally becoming the
like
Mandalorian.
accidentally become
accidentally doing it. Everyone's like bows down. And he's like, what's happening? Why is everyone bowing?
That's That's exactly what I'm thinking.
I could see like he joins up with them. He needs to go on a mission. They're like, listen, you really need some Mandalorian armor for this mission. He's like, can I get some? They're like, okay. But, as soon as you take the helmet off, you're not a Mandalore anymore. And he's like, that's fine. We'll just do this one mission. And then he has an awesome time on the mission.
He's running out the lightsaber and Mando armor on.
Yeah, it's like already wearing the helmet. And he's like, I could just not take my helmet off and be this awesome Mandalorian and then lead Mandalore and reunite Mandalore. And he'd be like, the Force says this is my calling and I'll do it.
Yeah, I need to go save the Mandalorian. Sabine will want this.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Sabine would want this. And then, that'd be pretty fun. And then you could, because like my heart wants another, like an Heir to the Empire movie, another movie after this one, but my head
there's gonna be giant naval combat scenes with Thrawn. This needs to happen. So like massive scale, sort of like space battles need to happen with Thrawn, right? Like that's sort of what's, if you don't bring Thrawn in unless you do these, sort of huge scale wars.
Yeah.
I mean, Thrawn has returned. They have documentation. They know where he is. And Hera is reunited with Ezra. Like, there's no reason for them. Like, that should be priority one for everybody, right? Like, Hera can go back to that council and just be like, no, Thrawn's here now. You guys laughed at me, but now he's back. And you see what happens. Yeah. And now we got, like, I can't see how they do anything other than that. So unless this movie completely ignores Hera, which it might, and Thrawn and all that, I don't know. Then I think that's got to be the next thing that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Hera, I also think is like Thrawn. She is Thrawn's, arch rival, and Thrawn is, her foil. Like they sort of like cancel each other out. They're like, to me, like that's the rivalry that I'm most interested in, because she's going to display that she has tactical knowledge as well, and that the New Republic has more tools than we think they do. And she's going to actually be like one of the most competent people in the New Republic, which is actually what I've been waiting for, is like Andor level competence, like in the New Republic. You're like, oh, like the New Republic's actually like on point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I need to see some of that. I'm kind of tired of the the New Republic are a bunch of bumbling idiots. It's like, they're still successful.
There's still Harrison Dula. There's still Mon Mothma. Yeah. Leia.
Yeah, I guess it's just tough to run a galaxy. But I mean, like the New Republic lasted longer than the Empire. So, and even it goes as far as Bloodline. Like, obviously there was a lot of trouble in the beginning, but then it goes out to Bloodline. And then even then it's like, Leia in the thick of things, just like sort of getting it from all sides, trying to balance out a galaxy that,
I just don't think there's a strong framing for like what the political situation was in the sequels. Like, you kind of just don't know what the heck is going on.
Not in the sequels at all.
You have no context for sort of who the First Order is and who the Resistance are. There's almost nothing you can go on other than you've seen Star Wars. You know what a rebellion it looks like, and you know what a industrious empire looks like, and it's that again. But it's like strange fringe collectives now that are unexplained. Like, what? Like that's kind of like, I think George would give you some sort of framework to go off of, and so you understand these factions a little better. But I just don't think.
I mean, the original trilogy, right? There's no Senate scenes, there's nothing like that, but you get enough stuff in the background. The Senate's been disbanded. You see the boardroom scene. You see the
briefing scene.
Second one. You see a briefing. You see all those things that give you a feel of what the Empire is. It's hard to reverse that and not tell you, like, it just didn't. Even though it was like similar in terms of like you see just as much of the inner workings in the sequel trilogy, it just didn't feel as, I don't know, as easily understood as what was going on with
that does set up the sort of backfill territory of sort of doing a slow burn of like, here's the crumbling of the New Republic and here's the rise of the First Order, and sort of really exploring what that is in terms of like, I think there is that eerie sort of like romanticizing of the order that the sort of disguised order that the Empire provided, that people sort of harken back to or think about often in the New Republic, where there seems like there's a lot of disorder and disarray and bureaucracy and red tape, and no one knows what they can do and where they can go. And I don't know, it seems like the New Republic is it isn't providing maybe like the same level of purpose that some people had when they were in the Empire. Like they're like, oh, I was this sort of like systems analyst and I had a big role, but because I helped the Empire, now I'm now this reformed, like person living in that refugee facility. Yeah. And it's like, it's just like, to me, it's like, if they keep going down that narrative, that story path, like they could get to like the First Order. You see how there's like little collectives of people who are like yearning for that these loyalists, essentially. I think that you get in the Bloodline books, like the loyalists, the people who were loyal to the Empire. You get like this whole party rising. Like, to me, that's the Andor territory that they could get to with the New Republic, that then starts to explain the First Order. It just like, to not explain the First Order is like a massive crime, in my opinion. Like, you need to explain what the First Order is. And to me, it starts with doing some of the storytelling you're doing in The Mandalorian, but then pushing it further. I think doing a prestige series set all around that would be huge. Doing a Mando and Grogu movie where it's just more like cloning and maybe they need Grogu's blood. Like, I don't know what that does, like, for us understanding the political aspects of what's going on, but it'd be fun to get more political stuff, is all I'm saying. And I don't think Mando and Grogu is going to do exactly like that sort of slow burn backfill of who the First Order is, or are. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. And I think, if there is no Heir to the Empire movie, and really this next like Mandalorian and Grogu movie is that, you could sort of end it and sort of call it like phase one of the Mando, the Mandoverse, and then do a second phase and maybe introduce some new shows or new characters or new movies or something. And then like, you can deal more with like maybe young Ben Solo. You can, start to introduce where the First Order came from, Snoke's, and then kind of push it forward, and maybe Grogu and the Mandalorian, carry forward, which would be cool. But like, you start getting into a different era with a different cast of characters, and maybe, gosh, Leia would be like the most interesting person to follow around, I think. But,
for sure. Yeah.
Obviously you need to recast that. So yeah, I don't know. So the next movie,
Holdo, could you do like
Holdo?
Yeah, Holdo.
What about Holdo show, like a prestige Holdo show?
Super interesting.
Am I allowed to not like what's that actress?
Laura Dern.
Laura
Dern. Oh my gosh.
I know. Yeah. She's lovely.
How?
I don't know. She rubs me the wrong way. I think because I did a sound edit.
Every movie she's in, but okay.
I know she's kind of great, but I don't know. I didn't love her character. No, I just didn't love it. And I did a sound edit with a movie with her dad, and
Bruce Dern. Yeah.
Bruce Dern. Yeah. And I just can't get his voice out of my head. It was like a month of just that guy's voice. And I don't know.
And you have me on the mix.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
Very specific reason, but understandable reason.
Anyways,
no, I don't.
I'm just absolute legend.
Not a huge Laura Dern fan. Legend. I don't know. Yeah. I think she's just like, she plays some characters that are like, gets under people's skin a lot, and does it very well. And now she's under my skin, and I'm just
All right,
Well, and she
be careful. We do,
and she comes out of the
Holdo fans are out there. Be careful.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong.
The Last Jedi.
I'm just saying I don't. I'm not.
She also comes out of the David Lynch, oeuvre. Like that's where she got her start. Was in a lot of the David Lynch early movies. Like, why am I blanking on like the two movies she was in?
Is she in
3 movies.
Drive?
Yeah.
No. Like early. Like she was in
Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet, and then there's another one I can't think of that's driving me nuts. But anyway,
Lost
but like
Highway. Yeah.
Lost Highway.
But even before that, there was the one with was it Nicolas Cage? It's gonna
That's right.
But it's like horses, isn't it? No, what's it called? Driving
Wild things. Wild.
Oh, Wild. Yes, it's so anyway, this is compelling. Anyway, so my point was, I'll figure it out while I'm talking. It kind of, I think like people who came out of that who are young, like Kyle MacLachlan, have very interesting acting styles, and I don't know, and I don't know, like it's very interesting, and I like it, but I just feel like there's something there. Wild at Heart,
Wild at Heart. There we go.
Yeah. So she was in Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, Inland Empire, and The Twin Peaks Return. So she's been she's very connected to David Lynch.
Yeah.
She's
and I was like that classic David Lynch model, just like classic beauty.
Yes. And like I think Blue Velvet was one of her first movies, or like really, really early in her career. So I think that like his directing style like rubbed off on her acting style in some way, where like Kyle MacLachlan's the same way. And I like Kyle MacLachlan, but he's an odd duck sometimes when you see him in other stuff acting. It works or it doesn't, and I feel like the same with Laura Dern.
I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan, and I love him. But it's like that's like his Luke Skywalker role.
What didn't you like about Holdo? I don't get it.
Oh no, because that character from the books is like a little wacky, and like very lighthearted, and like kind of bonkers a little. And I didn't get any of that. I just got Laura Derning.
I kind of got that from her in Last Jedi. That's but I see what you're saying. She's definitely wackier, and
it was. Remember the
stuff?
Just scoffed at like the Flyboy like thing. That was kind of like,
yeah. I don't know. Listen, she's an excellent actor. I'm not saying she's not. I'm just saying she just rubs me the wrong way for some reason.
Yeah, we all have. Yeah, that's fine. We all have actors and actresses that do that. There's a couple I don't like. That I'm like, I don't know why. Just don't connect. Just don't like it. Yeah, for sure. All right, one down, 15 more to go.
Right.
Exactly. Did we talk one movie?
Yep, that was one.
Yeah,
movie.
Some of these will be faster because we talked a lot about some of these. Shawn Levy movie, right? I think it's the next. That we've talked a lot about, so we don't have to say it.
There's nothing really to go on. It's just like we know it's after Rise of Skywalker.
I think this. Yeah, I don't know about this movie. I don't want to lean over the piano and like, I don't know.
We don't know anything about this.
Talk about this movie, but like, I feel like Disney. I feel like Star Wars has two directions it can go. It can go the Rey story and continue big saga films with Rey, or it can go deep in the past and do big saga films. I don't understand doing the little like adventure movies. I don't get it, and I feel like a Shawn Levy movie might just be an adventure movie, like.
Yeah. Yes,
might just
I
be
agree.
A simple smuggler's adventure, like a simple Jedi.
So you want some gravity to it, like
something. Yeah, it's a new saga that's like its own, like a huge, basically sprawling myth. And I feel like you really only can go with two different saga trilogies, which is Deep Past Sith Empire or Rey and the New Jedi Order, like giant institutions, essentially. You basically have to bring these giant institutions into the picture again, but explain them this time, please. Like, please explain the things that you bring in. Yeah.
Here's my thought on this. I'm once again Goldilocks here in the middle of these things. I'm not like instantaneously suspicious of the film. I like Ryan Gosling. I like this idea of adding a scoundrel character into this time period, as we talked a bit about. I think what's throwing me off a little bit about this is release order seems to be Mandalorian Grogu and then this movie. And I don't mind having a lighter movie or like a standalone movie, but I think it needs to be better interdispersed with the more serious saga films, right? So it's weird to me that Mando and then this. I would prefer Mando, then Rey, then this movie. That, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like having this back to back with Mando and Grogu is just going to feel like, oh, now Star Wars is just lighthearted popcorn movies with nothing.
I feel like you do giant saga films and you bring back the sort of space opera aspect of Star Wars, and you sort of make it like going to the opera. Essentially, it's like a huge story.
Which I think they're going to do with the Rey, but that's like 3 movies away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard that. Anyway, I saw the release date. They are apparently releasing.
I'm interested to see it, but I just don't. I don't really understand why we just don't do 3 giant movies and just do the biggest movies ever. Essentially, huge bets, huge new messages, huge new characters that we, hopefully will love.
I mean, that's the Kinberg series, which we're going to talk.
Right. That is sort of, I think,
right.
I guess.
I think, just to say one last thing, I think if they gave Shawn, like, if this movie just got greenlit by Kathy Kennedy, like however long ago, it was not long, and so it's already going to be in production as the next movie. I think it's got to be really good. I have to think that like Kathy saw something that was dope, like Andor, and it's just like, yep, obviously all the stars had to sort of align. He was available. He had a script. They had a production window. But more than that, I think it has to be good. And so it's the unknown or the known unknown. I think what I do know is, I think it points towards it has to be pretty solid to just be like launched into production as fast as it is.
That's an interesting point, because I think the reason why I'm so cynical about it, but I think you helped me with that cynicism a little bit, which is basically your role for me, is that like it just seems like such a this guy just directed the biggest movie like ever, the biggest like R-rated film ever. And like people thought he reignited the MCU. He didn't. It feels like
look at the MCU. I don't think his film didn't impact the larger narrative.
What film did he do? I forget.
Deadpool and Wolverine. Right.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I was cynical about it. But I think you're right. Like, it's not like this wasn't a Disney decision. This was a Kathleen Kennedy decision, and I do trust her.
Yeah, there's apparently a script that's quite good, and so
that's what everyone's saying.
What you're speaking to, Ben, is factual. So like, it's not to be dismissed at all that there wasn't a great script that went around and people love it. I'm just saying I would like a big sprawling epic again, and I just don't know if you get that with a Shawn Levy movie, given that I would have to go on like Free Guy and Deadpool Wolverine and Real Steel and Night Museum. I don't know what I can go on here that's like sprawling epic territory, but I can see a fun smuggler pirate adventure through the galaxy, swashbuckling adventure with a super likable ensemble.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of me is, we talked a bit about this. All of these now that we found out, like, most of these movies that are coming out after Mandalorian and Grogu are going to be like after Tross, right? Like, they're all like, there's that the Simon Kinberg, the Rey movie. It's like we talked a bit about this, maybe it was last week or before, but I feel like they're trying to create a new universe, right? So I'm hoping what we'll get is like images of what the galaxy looks like now, right? So we'll get like a perspective from the scoundrels and smugglers, a perspective from the Jedi, maybe a perspective from the military aspect or the governmental aspect. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's what they're trying to do instead of doing all in one movie, trying to give us a bigger picture. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't think it's an accident that Kathy mentioned the Kinberg, the Levy movie and the Kinberg trilogy in the same article that came out, a couple weeks ago. Because I think, Grant, I agree with you. That's what I want too, is like the big, meaty, lore-filled, like, where are we going? Yeah. And I think that's what the Kinberg stuff's going to be. And I think to a lesser extent what the Charmin Rey movie is going to be as well, the New Jedi Order. I could see this sort of like Kinberg movies sort of like setting up a new ensemble in a new part of space, and then like having the New Jedi Order movie just be like really hardcore Jedi lore based, like kind of a side story, but also kind of the center pillar to whatever is going on in the other trilogy. And the two will meet every once in a while, but it's not going to be a Jedi focused trilogy, I don't think, unless there's like another random Jedi that's in there. Probably will be,
right? I mean, we're now.
When did they say the Kinberg movies are taking place?
After Tross, but that's all we know.
Yeah, after Tross. So and it's coming out after after the Levy movie, and we know the Levy movie is supposed to take place 5 to 6 years after Tross,
right?
So
and then we don't. Rey's really supposed to be after, is 10. I think is the number that's been thrown around, 10 years after. So yeah. That, and I don't know if that's going to stick or how much they're going to massage that script, what they have. Yeah,
but that's
and we knew nothing about the Kinberg other than
we knew nothing except for the movies.
Yeah, and all the other movies he's made, which I'd rather not talk about again. I will say that the thing that makes me maybe most hopeful about the New Jedi Order and the Rey movie, and this may be counterintuitive, is that it keeps getting its release date pushed. That makes me more hopeful, because I'm like, good. You're trying to get it right. You're not going to pull a Rise of Skywalker, which is like, we have a release date. We have to get it out by the release date. Let's rush this thing. And, you get like 60% of a good movie. Like, I'm glad that they're like not feeling that we have to get this out immediately. Like, yes, take your time, get it right, please.
Yeah. I love how many people's eyes have looked at it. And, I love that they keep bringing new people in, and because it should be special. It should
be the biggest one of all of these.
Yeah.
Right. Like it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. It needs to be special in its own way. And, and I mean, I don't know, like maybe this is setting up the big bad, in the galaxy post Tross. And so that's what they're wrestling with and trying to get it all to work right. And, I don't know.
Yeah,
but it seems like wild to have all this content in the same time frame. And like, because they've got to be working together to some extent, right? Like,
I would think so. Like, that's what I was thinking. Is like, wonder if like the Simon Kinberg stuff is like introducing the corporeal threat. Like maybe it's like something like the Chiss, right? Like something like another thing, and then maybe the new Jedi Order is revealing the existential threat or the Force threat, right? And those two then merge or join, right? Like you get the like Heir to the Empire, basically, where you have the Chiss working with Thrawn working with Jedi clones or something, right? Like maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah, super fun.
I mean, like, yeah, because if they're going to go back in time and do maybe the Sith, like maybe if they go forward in time, would you want another Dark Lord of the Sith as the villain, or would you want sort of an extra galactic villain like Thrawn, or like another extra galactic threat or a new faction per se?
Yeah,
I'd like to see a fight for power, sort of some people making a lot of different new Sith making power grabs, and like a faction sort of Sith.
What if there's a Caesar moment with Rey and like all her students turn at the same time instead of like one student falling? Because we've seen one person fall. Like, I think you've seen that trope a bunch across a lot of Star Wars media, and it's like, what if it's a total Caesar moment almost? Like,
that's a good point. I'm looking, that would be really interesting, like almost like a palace intrigue take on the Rey movie, right? Of like, who can you trust? Are there factions forming even within her school, right? Are people falling that they don't realize are falling? It'd be interesting.
Like a collective of students who have fallen.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's a different way to go, essentially.
Yeah.
It
is. And you can sort of, really flesh out their characters because they'll be on the screen a lot and you don't have to like flash over to somewhere else to show the villain. And,
right.
But like it. I like that idea a lot.
What's next on the list?
Well, I mean, we've kind of covered Kimber again, Charmine, and then, I mean, Mangold is the next most likely, I think.
Yeah.
So is he working on that now after Complete Unknown? So now it's moved on to Star Wars.
That's what I think Kathy meant, and Kathy does mention him in that Deadline article. And I think she said, what did she go? What's his first name? John Mangold? No,
James.
Yeah. She's like, Jim's working on that now.
Jim. Well, I mean, here's the thing. They already have a working relationship, right? Because he directed The Last Indiana Jones. And what I will say is, like, I can't imagine a better bounce back after that movie. And I'm actually a defender of that movie, but like it did nothing in like after that movie came out, I'm like, oh, his days might be numbered in terms of like shooting a Star Wars movie. And then he just goes and makes, like one of the most Oscar nominated films of the year. Like he's just like, don't worry, I'm gonna go over here and make like the Bob Dylan biopic. And he's like, nope, he's back in immediately. Like he reversed his word again. Yeah,
even Ted Williams didn't hit 1,000.
That's the thing. Like that, his hit to miss ratio is pretty impressive.
No, I mean, it's fascinating because we've been hearing about him since I think when we were walking into the theaters to see Tross. We had
I think it was Solo. Yeah, all the way back.
Solo. We were walking in to see Solo. And there was a Hollywood Reporter article that it was James Mangold who was chosen to write the Boba Fett feature-length film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it was like a huge headlines as we're literally walking into.
Yeah, literally. I remember standing outside the AMC and talking to you.
And so he's moved from like this dark Western sort of deal with Kathy to now like basically create the mythological foundation of the Jedi Order and
like the religious underpinnings. Yeah,
which is fascinating. But I've watched a lot of behind the scenes footage with James Mangold and interviews, and he's just given out so much wonderful sort of film knowledge and all the interviews he's done throughout his time as a director, and brilliant filmmaker. It's just I don't know. It's interesting that like he's going to be basically writing the sort of like religious text of Star Wars, and I just it's tough because it's like you're saying, Ben, you wanted it to almost stay ever more mysterious as you go on, and this movie might just sort of like really try to explain it,
it could. I think it's going to be way more esoteric. I mean, in the interviews he's done, he's been like, you're probably not even going to hear the word Jedi in this, in this movie. Like you might not even have that. You might not have a lightsaber. Like it could be really just sort of wild and, but just be a really broad sort of undertone for what the next thing could be. And maybe nothing, maybe we don't see a movie that takes place canonically until 20,000 years after it, or 15,000.
It could be more like Lord of the Rings, right? Where it's like there's no lightsabers around, but there's like dark lords, in the shadows, essentially. Like
feudal,
dark wizards, right? Like dark wizards, controlling people.
I mean, we were going to say like the Silmarillion.
I think the Silmarillion. Sure. Yeah.
The birth of the Mortis gods, and then they sort of like.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it needs to go that far back, but
we don't. It doesn't.
It's just the idea of like maybe like dark wizards,
so I'm like, let's go.
And sort of like the people using the Force and lightning calling. Like maybe we see stuff that's like someone calling lightning from the sky, and then
primitive.
Well,
wow.
And the other thing we could see is like we've seen it used more and more recently. I feel like the use of like force pushes and pulls during battle, and if you just have people with swords using that, and they don't have to be lightsabers, like that's very just tapping into those elemental force powers, right? Not like actually having, like you said, lightsabers or calling each other Jedi, but somehow tapping into this force that they don't understand would be really interesting. And then someone taking it too far and falling, right? Our first fallen Jedi, which is not a Jedi, but like, tapping into the other side of the power that no one ever was aware of, right? Like getting this. Yeah.
I mean, they should be like children playing with this like awesome power. And naturally some will be more virtuous and some will be,
it's going to be brothers
the wrong way. Yeah.
It's going to be brothers, and one of them's going to fall to the dark side. Abel. Yeah. It's got to be Cain and Abel. This has got to be the Cain and Abel story.
Yeah. Could be. He had twins, a dyad.
Yep. The first dyad.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, he's got a lot. I'm less worried about that. I think it'll just be cool because he's, I think he'll just slow play it and be kind of broad.
There will still have to be a massive galactic stage though, and there will have to be like a republic, an old.
Yeah. I mean, that when I say primitive, they're still going to have hyperspace travel. They're still going to have like laser, like they're still going to have computers and droids and like all those things. It's just, but like the feeling of it might feel a little more primitive or we get to see the galaxy without religion in it, without the Force. Is it a hopeless galaxy? Is it a dark void space? Like, does this bring hope, like the first spring of hope in a united galaxy or something?
Yeah, or like this is the militarized, side of the old republic, and they tap into this power, and then they start, some of them start realizing they have the power to maybe try to take over the government. Who knows?
Yeah, I think there's a lot.
Prescient.
A lot of fun ways to go there.
Yeah,
I'm just excited. I just hope that we start seeing more production on all these. Actually, I'm pretty excited all these. And then, then we have the Filoni sort of quote unquote heir to the empire movie, which I've just resigned myself to calling it that, which is sort of his take on the Legends version of heir to the empire. And when, it'll be kind of like Mandoverse Avengers.
That's kind of my thought. I'd be shocked if they don't call it heir to the empire.
Yeah, they've used it. There's a Luke Skywalker book called Heir to the Jedi, which is kind of a fun play on that. And then I think one of the Ahsoka episodes was called Heir to the Empire.
Yeah. But I mean, it's an episode of a TV show. You can take it.
Yeah, they can play like they're just flirting with it, but I don't know if they would just like.
It's just a killer title. Like, how
it's
do you not take that title?
And it's Thrawn is the supposed heir to the Empire. In framing, but then you could then extrapolate further and do the whole like the cloning. The Emperor is cloning himself, and there's going to be someone out there who's the possible heir to the Empire. You make it, apply to multiple characters.
Yeah, we get a Luke in it. It'd be great.
I think it's inevitable. I think you got to do it. Actually, no, I don't want Luke per se, but I think you need Luke to start sniffing the trail of this dark cloning enterprise or something, and do something with his character in discovering some of that knowledge. Maybe not all of it.
No, I agree, and that's the thing we're talking about Luke, because I really do think like Luke with one U. I really do think
Luke Skywalker, sorry.
Yeah, I really do think that this is going to be.
Seeing his own hand harvested, oh my god! Come on, there's like stuff that's just sitting there. It's just like, they did something. It's my DNA. Yeah. You know what I mean? Looking up on a computer like Obi-Wan, and it's just like it's my own DNA. What the heck?
And I think you're right, Ben. This is going to be like Filoni versus Avengers plus the original trilogy trio. Like I really do think that they are like waiting. I mean, they were able to do it in I think
Lando should be there too.
Yeah, Lando's got to be. Lando's got to be in there too. But like not everyone. So many people talk about, myself included, like, hey, one of the biggest like regrets of the sequel trilogies, like we just never got a scene, just a scene with the three of them together, which is so sad. And I understand from the storytelling perspective, but like I feel like they feel a need. I don't necessarily want to use this word, but I'm going to use it. They may feel a need to go back and rectify, with big quotes around that, that I wouldn't be surprised if they're just waiting. If this thing's coming out in 5 years, that allows the technology to in 5 years, it's just going to be, the technology is going to be, I mean, it's almost there already, but like, it's still a little like, uncanny valley sometimes when you see the de-aging stuff, and then 5 years it's going to be gone. Like that uncanny.
I mean, I think you're going to get Han Solo in this. Yeah, right. I think you're going to get Han Solo at some point. Maybe.
Han, Leia, Luke. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I feel like Harrison Ford doesn't care either. Like, sure, just do it. I don't care. As long as I don't have to do anything, just do it.
I just don't want it to be cheesy. Like I know there's a universe that exists where they can tie in all of these, A-list characters together and make it really exciting and really fun and things that like I'd really like. But when I think about the Avengers, it's just sort of like ham-fisted and corny to me when the teams come together, and I'm just like, I just don't want that. That would just be kind of sad to me.
I'd love to see why Han descends back into being a smuggler. Like I would like to see, like that.
It's a great story.
Regression.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's really kind of sad in Bloodlines where he does like sort of hit the bottle and they drift apart after
it's so turns. They sort of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that's almost
he's like stressed out about his job in the New Republic. Like,
he doesn't really like, he
doesn't like the racing. He doesn't like the teaching cadets. Like he doesn't like anything,
which makes sense from that character.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
He's an adrenaline junkie.
Which is like similar to what they did with him in the old EU, except like he was still with Leia, but he definitely just was like he never settled down really. He was just always trying to do stuff, and then
fun stuff there. I mean, we'll see if that movie's there. They've been obvious, pretty coy about it. We're gonna learn a lot in a few weeks at Celebration. I think they're gonna probably solidify a lot of these movies in their place and let us know what's really happening.
We'll get our first Mandalorian and Grogu teaser trailer.
Yeah,
probably.
Right, so,
we may not. They will.
Yeah, they will.
The stars of the Levy movie maybe like come out. I don't know, like the
stars.
It seems like it's the Levy movie. The Levy movie is going to get a title at Celebration.
That's a good call. I bet you're right. We'll get some more casting announcements. Yeah, for sure.
I really like Celebration for one. Let's do a Celebration corner for a second. What are we getting movie wise, development pipeline wise? What are we getting at Celebration in terms of announcements?
They're going to lock in a date, title, and some cast for the Levy movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
If the script is as tight on that as we're guessing it is, or I'm guessing it is.
I mean, she mentioned it in the Deadline artiple, the interview recently. It's like she keeps dropping it. It makes me think it's very real and it's very much happening. It's being pushed right into production. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine grossed billions of dollars. It's
I don't know if we're going to hear much, if anything, about the Simon Kinberg stuff. I mean, maybe we'll get some. That's such an unknown. I wouldn't be surprised if they also try to give us a title for the to nail down the official title for the Rey movie. If they just do, with a date. With the thing is, the rumor is they're going to do 2 movies in 2026, and if that's the case, they're going to have dates locked down and titles for both.
Yeah.
I think you do the Kinberg. I think you do the Kinberg premise. I don't think you do the Rey movie. I think Kinberg comes out. I think he gives the premise of what it is, and we all go, "Oh yeah, that's a trilogy." Like the goal is to make us all go,
sell it to us.
That's worthy of a trilogy.
Yeah, make us want it. Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna hear anything about the Mangold stuff other than like it's still happening. He's busy. He's busy working on it. He's done with his, he did his his awards lap and is now, hunkered down and giving all his. They're gonna give he's giving all of his time.
It's Mangold going to every like spiritual site on the globe. It's just like this BTS thing where he's like, I understand every religion deeply.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's gonna exactly. They're gonna have like a travel log with him.
It's a travel log. You just get a Mangold travel log. That's like temple walk.
Nothing on the Filoni movie because they're waiting to see how Mandalorian and Grogu goes. I would assume.
Well, I mean, will we get Mandalorian and Grogu stuff?
Yeah.
So
you're getting a full trailer.
I think at least a teaser.
Teaser one, like a big teaser. Yeah.
I'd like it if they kind of kept it under their hat a little bit, but they can't do that forever.
No,
so
it has to be.
They have
to show some stuff.
Yeah. Because we know, the Mangold thing's nowhere. The Charmin thing, they just tacked on another year. So that means that like they're rewriting. So there's nothing set in stone there.
It's literally going to be, it takes place 10 years after Rise of Skywalker, and it's going to come out 10 years after Rise of Skywalker at this rate.
Right. What about live action TV?
Ahsoka season 2.
Yeah, Ahsoka season 2. We'll get a little more information about that. Maybe some more concept art, maybe because Filoni loves to draw the concept art.
Any other surprise live action shows?
I think you're going to get a big announcement, a big surprise announcement.
We're going to get something we're not all thinking about.
Boba Fett season
2. No, I think they're going to make like a Clone Wars like Hayden Christensen.
That's a good call.
But it's like the Clone Wars and like they do them both, and it's a big Clone Wars thing. Because to me, it's like if they want to work together and they want to like capture something that's like the war or something, it's like Jedi and the War. That would be. Yeah. They said they wanted to work together, and like there's talk of Obi-Wan season 2, but I was like, why not just do their time in the Clone Wars? Like that's untread territory.
He is game. I mean, obviously Hayden Christensen. Not obviously, but Hayden Christensen seems to have loved coming back.
They said their game,
They seem to love it. And then that's the other thing and there's so many rumors swirling around that like you're going to get them and Padme in Ahsoka season 2. And part of me wonders if
I keep hearing Hayden Ewan stuff, and I know Hayden wants to be involved in more.
So Grant, I wonder if you're onto something. I wonder if what's happening is there are talks about all 3 of them, and everyone's assuming it's Ahsoka season 2, but what it actually is the series you're talking about, right?
I don't know. Yeah. There's something with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen that I don't think's over yet.
I don't think so either. They love working together.
They love working together.
They seem to love working with Lucasfilm. Yeah,
but I actually don't think that's the big announcement. I'm sorry. I don't think that's. I think that could be fun. Gosh, the big announcement.
That or an Obi-Wan.
I think the Rian Johnson trilogy lives, and I think you're going to get an announcement about the Rian Johnson trilogy.
Interesting.
Because now is the time, right? He's turned the page on Knives Out, right?
Yeah, I think Knives Out 3 is. Is
that officially the end? Is that was he a regular trilogy, or is he?
No, I don't know. There's an overall deal with Netflix for what, like 3 movies? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, so now
that's a good point.
He's been writing it the entire time.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That could be big.
Yeah,
that could be huge.
I would love another animated series too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I bet you're right. We'll get an animated series. It's weird.
It's Path animated series.
Yeah.
What about the Donald Glover Lando series?
So that's the thing I was going to say.
What about like a teaser or like music? Here's music from it, original music. Here's some.
Well, we should continue on into our next phase of this conversation, because the last we heard about the Donald Glover Lando thing was that it's not going to be a series; it's going to be a feature.
Right.
And we have no idea where that is, but that is this sort of next realm of movies that we like think is alive.
Yeah.
But
in terms of that Lando movie, right? He's writing, right? Like he's working with his brother to write. He's also, and I don't want to say it's going to sound really bad, not bad, but like he's had time on his hands because I think he had a giant tour that got canceled.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think the sales were not great on the tickets, as with happening to everyone.
A lot of
everyone.
musical acts and that tier are like.
Well, I think they have to. The industry the way it is now, they have to like sell at every show, or it's not profitable for them. So they just even if it's like 70% sold, they're like, nope, not worth it, cancel it. Or their management is, not them. I'm sure they'd be happy to go out and perform. And so, not to be cynical about it, but he's had time on his hands, right? And so maybe he's doing that. I know they just confirmed he is coming back for season 2 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but I don't know where that is in the development cycle right now. So
is he a writer on that?
Oh,
or a producer?
I think he is a writer and a producer in that. Also, okay. I'm going to say this. Celebrations in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He likes Japan a lot. A lot. He is obsessed with it, and people have like hit him on how much he's obsessed with Japan and other things about Japan. So what I'll say is like that's also would not be surprised if Donald like,
dude, I also am obsessed.
Do you want to give me like a free trip
to Japan?
Why am I being left out of being obsessed with Japan? I'm also there.
Okay. No, Japan's great. Do I want to like talk about this on there? No. Just there's many articles written about things he said in songs and choices he's made in life about partners. That seems interesting. You can look into it.
There you go.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying it's a thing. So my point is he loves Japan. So if he gets like a free trip to Japan, would not expect to see him pop up at Celebration. That's all.
Yeah.
Moving on.
He is.
Don't want to get sued for defamation. Yeah.
Or kink shaming.
No.
It would be.
You guys are going to have a post-pod talk with me because I haven't been exposed to these things. I'm going to.
It's not. I feel like it's worse. It sounds worse than what I'm saying. It's not a big deal.
You've played it up too much at this point.
It's not a big deal. He just
he loves cat cafes.
No. And it's nothing like. And again, no kink shaming. It's not like he's like. It's not like he's a big like. He's not big into
musical legend, brilliant actor. Brilliant.
Yeah, I love it. I love him. No shame.
What you're saying though is just getting me really excited about a Lando movie, like in like a planet that like looks like Japan, but like a little more hyper color.
Yeah.
And like I'm just like, make that movie, dude. That's the Lando movie I want. I want the synthwave Lando movie, and I want Donald Glover to make it. And I think, I want it to happen. I want the series because I want MOAR, but but I'll take a film. I think you do. I think you do a lot of fun things with.
Yeah, totally.
Lando.
Yeah, Lando in Japan sounds incredible.
I do. I didn't even think I wanted that. But like you mentioned that, I'm like, yes, you're like giving me like Space Tokyo with.
Like I want that poster on my wall right now. Like
right
vibing in
the caves.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be the Calrissian Chronicles, and like but it a lot filmed there.
Just call it the Calrissian Chronicles. It's so fresh.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it could even, I would love even like him, like Billy D.
Is it Lando the Calrissian Chronicles? Like, is that the title of the film or something?
I think you can just call it Star Wars. They call it Calrissian Chronicles.
You think? I love it. It's just
classy.
Lando.
Classy. Right? It's gonna be Lando though, but
it is. But I do love that. I hope I'm wrong.
I was just Lando with like gold, like the Calrissian Chronicles.
Yeah,
Calrissian.
Stay gold.
Yeah,
the Calrissian Chronicles.
Amazing.
So another thing that Kathy said in like offhand in that Deadline article was, I love Taika. I don't know what he's doing, but I feel like he's going to come around to it. I'm obviously paraphrasing, but she was just being flippant, like, oh my gosh, like whenever Taika has time, we're going to do that movie.
Yeah.
So it's nowhere, but it's possible. That's like this middle tier of prospects we have.
And Taika also works fast, where I feel like if he gets a bug in him, he'll just write it in like a week. Like he just watched. He's also very interesting in terms of like he had a show. He had Time Bandits that got canceled, right? And so he has time as well. But he also he has his fingers in so many different things. I think he directed.
Everyone is writing a Star Wars though. Like
why wouldn't you? Right? If you're a power
LA office, they're just like writing a Star Wars. It's just one of their many script documents. And you got to imagine Rian Johnson's plugging away on a trilogy. Taika Waititi's got a standalone film, possibly a trilogy from Taika. Like his behind the scenes footage on interviews on The Mandalorian, like he really holds Star Wars dear. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he could write a trilogy per se.
He's an interesting fella. Like he needs to capitalize on some of this if he wants to, right? Like he's kind of at a prime point because the last couple of movies are just doing okay, but he I think he directed 3 Super Bowl commercials and was in a Super Bowl commercial as well. Like,
are we still talking about Taika, or we've
Taika,
still on Taika, yeah. So
yeah. I didn't know that he did all that. I mean, it makes sense that he's working all the time and he's just like doing all those things.
Star Wars is hard to write. Like a Star Wars is hard to write, especially for the audience you have today. Like the audience is, like Kathy said, like they're just endlessly scrupulous of what you're doing, and it's so unfortunate. And like to me, when I read that Deadline article, I was like, there's a way to end that, and it's just to drop an operatic masterpiece that basically just stops people.
Just make a masterpiece. Just make a masterpiece. That's all you gotta do.
A masterpiece. Just drop a masterpiece.
Do it. Easy as that.
Instead of just phoning it in this one time, make a masterpiece.
Make a masterpiece. But because then it would actually remove you out of that territory. Like Andor, I think
that's true.
It did quiet a lot of people, I think, because it's just such a powerful.
It's a masterpiece.
It's
a masterpiece.
An absolute masterpiece.
Yeah.
Just to do that on the feature level, though, like to do it in that territory, that would be.
I think we're getting there, man. I'm bullish on the future.
That would be it that would really help Lucasfilm. Take some of the heat off.
Listen, my favorite Star Wars content, Skeleton Crew, is not. But is it a masterpiece? I mean, as far as like doing what they said they're going to do, it's like, I mean, it knocked it out of the park. I don't have any knock on Skeleton Crew at all. Like
it was all right. I just don't think I'll revisit it. Like
no, but like it did all the things.
It did all the things. It was great to watch. It was a fun ride.
I don't have anything bad to say.
There's nothing bad to say. It's more of just like
peripheral to
I just feel like I hear a lot of noise in like the Star Wars fandom, and I think like if you just created a feature length film that I think it'd be a masterpiece. It's just, to me, it has to set a tone.
Nail it.
That is that. Yeah, you got to really nail the landing, and you got to set a tone that's like, we take these stories very seriously, and we're inventing and we're blazing the path forward, and just stick along for the ride, and you won't be underwhelmed. You're going to be astounded by the Jedi heroics. You're going to be you're going to jump and gasp at the dark side sort of horrors that are displayed. Like you're going to really see the spectrum of Star Wars, and just trust us. And I think that needs to happen with a feature length film.
No, you're right. We're making light of it, Grant, but you're right. Like they haven't hit a home run on a feature. I mean, they haven't had a feature in a long time, but they haven't hit a home run on a feature in a minute. But I think I was with the Skeleton Crew thing. I'm just saying, like, iteratively, I think they're getting better and better and closer to the mark. And
or they're just bringing in new voices, and we're getting a lot of different voices telling their Star Wars stories, which is fun. And if you're a fan of more, then you're getting what you want.
I mean, I'm a fan of more. I'm always getting what I want.
Yeah.
Right. I know. I'm just saying, it's interesting. I love seeing people's different. I love seeing Star Wars through other people's lenses. Of what it looks like to them.
Yeah.
And it's all been so interesting, honestly, and I've loved it. And I've almost aligned the most with The Acolyte, and I feel really sad that show went away, because I was like, it felt like it was actually digging to a new land.
It was onto something.
Digging a tunnel to a new land, and I was like, this show is actually doing it. It's actually going to bring us to exploration of the Sith in a very organic way.
Yeah,
it was very organic how it got there. There's some stuff in that show.
There's
that's
some
like
pacing issues,
some pacing issues, and then just some characterizations that are just like bizarre and baffling at times. Yes. But like, but mostly for the Jedi, and it's sort of like the sort of spearing of the Jedi that the show does, and in such a powerful way. It's a very strong commentary. I get it. It's great. It's just, I'm a kid who grew up like looking at the Jedi like these are my heroes, and they haven't been in like
a minute,
3 films and a TV show, and it's like I'm waiting for like the Jedi.
We need a Jedi Order.
Be heroic again.
Yeah.
We need a Jedi Order so bad.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Right now, I mean, like in real life, IRL, we need the Jedi Order. It's like,
yeah. Like, I wish.
Yeah, like we need the Jedi Order. We'll make shirts. Like, I don't know
any sort of moral compass would be
awareness.
Super.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm so terrified about society and like where people are, who people are being influenced by in this day and age, and that Disney has a huge opportunity to right now give people the Jedi Order to then influence people, guide their moral compass.
Exactly.
We don't have any. Look out there right now. If you look out there around you, turn on your TV, look at who's out there. Think about who's influencing who, and tell me there aren't more negative people setting the trend than there are positive people setting the trend.
Yeah, including AI feedbacking all that negativity. No, I mean, I one sentence I'll say on it is just American pop culture has had a lot more influence in a lot more ways than people really, I think, understand on a day-to-day basis. It is a pop culture is a very, very powerful thing, and these stories have a lot of sway to them. And
can I expand on that for 1 second from a professional standpoint? So I teach a couple courses, one called Criminology Goes to the Movies, and the thing I battle against the most as a criminologist teaching my students is, and these are students who have been students for 4 years, is the complete misunderstanding of crime, the criminal justice system, and all of that comes from pop culture.
Yeah,
like all of it, and it's just there. Like, people don't think about it, we don't talk about it, but that is the thing that forms opinions and beliefs more than anything.
That's their reality. They'll never see the real criminal justice system, or very much of it.
Everyone's like, crime's the worst it's ever been. No, it's actually been the lowest since we've been recording crime since the 1950s. But hey, whatever.
Crime shows are great, and we love watching them. So the other thing I wanted to say about this was sort of, we were talking about, Mangold was rumored to have that Boba Fett movie, like way back when we were going into Last Jedi or whatever it was. And then they canceled. So then they like redirected because Solo, quote unquote, did poorly, even though it made money. And then, so they decided to go live streaming, and now here we are again back. And now they're doubling down on feature films, and the idea was the thing.
That's because Bob Chapek like took the wheel and almost drove off the highway, and then Bob Iger came back and was like, "No, features. We're going back to features.
Yes, that makes us money. TV doesn't make us. Streaming makes us no money.
Right?
It feeds people into the theater. Remember, the goal was to get people into the theater.
Right. But like, what if they had just stuck with their guns and Mangold made that Boba Fett movie and it was awesome?
It would have been. I mean, it would have been
awesome. It would have been like 310 to Yuma. Yeah, it would have been.
It awesome. Is like
it would have been awesome.
It's the shortest shot they had to shoot, and they just didn't.
So
Solo worked by metrics and by comparative data. Like a Boba Fett film is not that far removed from a Solo film, and then you're working in the Boba Fett Han Solo again.
Yeah.
We're building even at Lucasfilm understand that there is a rivalry between Han Solo and Boba Fett. It's a tale as old as time.
Yep. But they got scared.
When you have the Robert Rodriguez show come out and Boba Fett's like, Han Solo who? You're just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
and by the way, now I'm a good guy.
Was telling me through the Mangold announcement that that you might, if Solo does really well, you rope in Boba Fett. That's why the announcement happened right when we were walking in the door.
Yeah.
Right. It was and like again, that movie goes well. Look at the comparative analysis data that all these people crunched in the room in the right next door.
Yeah.
And yes, let's go with it. Look at, we already have 18 pieces of concept art.
The thing that drives me nuts about Solo, and I've talked about it many times, is the reason that movie is deemed a failure is not because of anything to do in the box office or anything to do with reviews. The reason why it was a failure is because that movie was shot twice and it cost twice as much. And if it cost the original budget, they'd be sitting there going, "This was a huge success," because it was a relatively inexpensive movie compared to the other Star Wars, and it would have done really well. But then it became the same budget as the major Star. Anyway,
and in like 10-20 years, it's going to be mythologized as like the greatest story never told from behind the scenes of a movie that sort of like was reshot entirely by a new director.
It's the other thing that it just drives me nuts is like not every movie needs to be the same budget within the same genre. Like, you have room to do this thing because you risk less. You know it's going to make back its money if it's cheaper than a blockbuster. And best case scenario, it lights a fire underneath it, and then you've made a ton of money with a little risk. Like, I don't know. It just drives me nuts.
I will say Solo looks beautiful.
Yeah.
incredibly beautiful movie.
It is gorgeous. It's a Ron Howard gem. It's like maybe the best film in his oeuvre. And I love all of his movies.
Right. So this was all a very, very, very long way and roundabout way of saying, if there was a parallel universe, or since there isn't a parallel universe where they made that Boba Fett movie, and which could have speared us off into a really interesting area, if Lucasfilm and Kathy are learning from this, wouldn't it be cool if they doubled down on Leslie Headland and Acolyte and just gave her a feature? Because I agree with you, Grant and Adam. You're both you're saying she's getting somewhere really cool, and that next installment, I think.
What if you just give Leslie Headland young Palpatine or something, and it's something like that? Because it's the Virgin stuff. I didn't really get the twins characters. I didn't really like.
Yeah.
I'm not invested in those characters.
I agree, but she was on to something by the end of that season.
Yeah, it was you get the Plagueis stuff. Suddenly, all right, now that the Jedi are virtuous and heroes. I mean, they always were. It was about a misunderstanding and blah, blah, blah. But we get the Jedi we want to get. They're interesting Jedi. Yoda's involved. Vernestra Rose involved. And then, we get Plagueis and these political machinations. I think, we're getting into some weird, nutty area. And it would be fun. Why not just let her cook again and, and just see what comes out. Yeah. Or I mean, I would love another series, but give her feature.
I don't know how that feature doesn't end with hi, I'm Sheev Palpatine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where that goes eventually.
Right.
I would love to see Leslie do the trilogy that's the Sith Empire, what I'm talking about, the prehistory. That's
entirely different.
I would love that. I would love her to do the dark side from a new, because what a beautiful proof that you can do dark side commentary and talk about the struggles of being a dark sider better than that series, than that season.
Right. And her Darksider writing was great. I mean, she had 3 seasons of Acolyte and 2 features or something that she had planned for that whole thing. And then
she did have a huge Bible, lots planned.
Yeah. So
and she GMs Star Wars tabletop games in her free time. She is constantly storytelling within that galaxy.
Yeah. The biggest issue is, should have started season 2. Should have the whole thing is write it, throw away the first 100 pages, as I feel like that would help.
I don't know. I haven't rewatched Acolyte yet. I'm looking forward to doing that at some point and catching up on it. But I have other rewatches I have to do right now. But I'm hoping when I watch it again, that it's fresh and fun, and I think it's always better in one digestion. But that could be cool. So all right. So another one in this thing we haven't talked about is Patty Jenkins.
Yep.
Adam, were you saying there was some Patty Jenkins?
Yeah, I mean a little bit, but I think it's old news. But something that is interesting to me, at least, is that she's been talking with Michael Stackpole, who wrote the X-Wing series of books.
Ooh.
So they have been in communication, and he seems very excited about what she's doing. He confirmed that it is post Rise of Skywalker. Also seems so. That's another reason I think this might be coming. Fun. This might be coming back around. We know Wonder Woman 3 is not happening for obvious reasons. I mean, it was even not happening before the James Gunn. Actually, I think it might have still, but then they're rebooting that, and so she has time. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe
so when Poe says, that's a dreadnought. It's a fleet killer. It insinuates that maybe they've come across dreadnoughts before and it's destroyed entire fleets that the Resistance or the New Republic has had.
Yeah.
So there are massive battles that could have unfolded after the Rise of Skywalker.
For sure.
That would be great theaters for, a fighter squadron movie.
Yeah.
So I just thought of that out of nowhere, and I was like, that could be thrilling.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah, I love that technology. Yeah. I love that. I love sort of those X-Wings. I think the one thing I really do like about the sequels is that the Starfighter sequences are just breathtaking. Almost everything in the sequels that has to do with the Starfighter is gorgeous, stunningly shot, stunningly composed.
Yeah. So I mean, that might be Dark Horse announcement at Celebration, right? Is they're nope, this is really happening. This is what we're doing. This is a time frame. This is a title. I mean, they're gonna call it, Rogue Squadron or something. But My biggest sadness about that is no Wedge, but that's okay. Or at least Wedge, maybe they'll give him like the admiral position.
Yeah,
like he's not going to be in an X-wing.
Well, maybe the old guy's got to show him. You don't think he's going to do Top Gun Maverick on them and be like, "No, this is."
I mean, no, because he doesn't look like Tom Cruise. The actor.
Well, I don't care what he looks like, man. I mean, we know what he looks like, but I'm just saying, like,
only Tom Cruise
can throw him in a cockpit and jostle him around a bit and make him look awesome.
Well, we did get to see him for like 1/10 of a second in Rise of Skywalker.
Like 20 frames of
blink and you missed it, which I did in the theater. I'm like, who's that?
I'm here, no.
Yeah.
Good times. And I'm here too.
I'm on the gun. Yeah.
In a gunner position.
In a gunner. Didn't care that his stepson died tragically in that thing. It was just like, I don't know who that is.
I think we were reading the books and we were just like, oh, they're so deeply connected. And then Snap dies in the movie and he just has, he's like, I'm over here. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, but didn't his Carillion cruiser go? Oh no, he was in the Falcon, right?
He's in the Falcon. He made it out. You're thinking of
Nine Nub. I'm like, so you're saying Nine Nub could make it?
Is Nine Nub safe?
Is he okay?
Yeah. And then I was trying to give you hope, and then officially they changed it to no, he died. Wikipedia. He's dead.
He's like, what?
Right now, that reminds me of talking about Rise of Skywalker, which we've been talking about.
Unceremoniously dying.
They are doing
unforgivable.
They're doing the comic adaptation.
People loved my pain over that. I was like,
he should have had a parade.
He should have been like
an underwater parade on.
Yeah. It would have been amazing. But they're doing the Rise of Skywalker comic adaptation finally by Jody Houser, and it's interesting because they're filling in some gaps in the comic adaptation. Like Leia gets more lines and stuff. So I read the first issue, so it might be worth covering when it does, because it is clearly this is what we would have done if we had more time and Carrie Fisher.
Too little, too late.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm not saying it's making it. I'm not saying it's going to save the movie.
No,
it's just interesting to talk about.
I'm joking. I'm being difficult.
All right, so now we're on to Pipe Dream territory, and I actually had Rian Johnson's trilogy in Pipe Dream territory, but I feel like
somewhere in between.
I love that I undercut you on that, and so I just diminished it ever so slightly.
No, you made it feel more possible, and I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's no reason why
who's not writing. I feel like everyone at this point should try to write a Star Wars trilogy, because it's just not happening, and everyone should just do it. It's we need one.
Yeah. And I feel like it's not anything going on his side other than being busy, because I think he feeds off of the internet's hate.
Yeah. So he's just getting stronger.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't care, which I appreciate about him. And so I'm sure
government.
Yeah.
That'd be cool, man. I would love it. And I mean, again, he'd be a great candidate for that Sith War era as well, I think. Or team up with Drew Carpathian and make the Bane series or
something. Yeah.
Or just vibe with Hidalgo and Filoni and sort of talk it out what maybe the next big, Jedi trilogy should be.
Yeah,
he does the Jedi so well. I think he really
does. I think that would be a good space for him. Yeah.
Talking about the Jedi explicitly in your film is hard to do, but he was able to do it, and
it's the most we got in this trilogy.
Yeah,
and I do appreciate it. I mean, I do like a lot of the lessons and stuff that are taught, and it's I mean, just some of that stuff is just really masterfully done. Other stuff not so much, but that part,
Right on. Yeah, I'd dig it. It would be fun. And then, finally, well, not really, I guess finally, but Benioff and Weiss, we've sort of murmured about it in the past 100 episodes or more.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they're at, if they were.
It's one of the ones they've confirmed is canceled, which is one of the rare ones, including the next one we're going to talk about. So there's a few that they've actually gone on the record saying definitely not happening, which is rare for them to do, right? They're usually like, I don't know, maybe it's going to happen, but this one got confirmed canceled, whatever that means. But things get canceled, things get uncanceled. Who knows, right?
Yeah, because I don't know where they are with their contract with Netflix. They made that one show, which was good, but I don't know. It was a wild adaptation. It was very good, actually. I'm sorry, I'm not coming up with it. It's the one about I don't know. It's a super sci-fi, like hyper.
Is it the 3-body solution?
Three-body problem.
Yeah, 3-body problem. Not the solution. It's the problem. That's right.
Yes. It's
yeah. That's right. They did do that, which was well received, as I remember.
It was good. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's very good. But
I haven't. I probably will read the books first.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be sequels to that or not, or if that's part of their.
I think there's.
I think there's.
Yeah, you read it, right? There's 3 books in this.
The 3-body problem. No, I only read up to the Dark Forest, and
okay.
But
there's a few books in the series, so I think that show probably only covers the first book or even part of the first book because those things are chunky.
Yeah, a while ago. I just don't think they're. I think their scripts and their work are with Lucasfilm, and there's a lot of work that's probably been done to talk about maybe factions that are feudal sort of factions that were Jedi and Sith, right?
Like
feudal.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, like that sort of stuff. That was probably designed with them.
Yeah, Lucasfilm owns it. I wouldn't be surprised if they hand it off to someone else and just give them credit. Give them credit on
like giving the Benioff and Weiss and Lucasfilm Story Group sort of work on maybe what those feudal empires or factions were in the prehistory. Giving that to, like, say, a Leslie Headland who has already shown that she can do masterful sort of dark side commentary. To me, that's like a match made in heaven.
I love that idea.
Development package. Yeah.
I mean, that would sort of work with my Mangold theory, where you could have like the Mangold movie, and then 5,000 years later, have a Benioff and Weiss trilogy of like sort of factions, and sort of you get like the seed planted in the first movie, and then 5,000 years later you check and see where it's gone, or 500 years later or something. I don't know. I think there might be something there. I wasn't thrilled.
Got one more, which is another officially canceled one.
Okay.
That was the Feige one. They officially canceled that in 2023 because basically he was just like, I got to go try to figure out what's happening with Marvel. I don't have time to do this.
It was just a deflating balloon. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Dude, time is a factor. I mean, like, if you're a human being and you're like, great, I got a Star Wars trilogy, that's 10 years of your life.
It's 10 years of your life. Yeah.
I mean, just ask Tony Gilroy. That came out in that thing too, and I didn't think about it. He's been only writing Star Wars for 10 years.
I know. And we're missing a lot of like Tony Gilroy movies that could be just incredible.
Though I have to say Andor season 1.
No, Andor far
it's anything he's ever done.
Yeah.
It's
so good.
And he's done really good things. But
I'm just saying it doesn't meld you is all. And you're not making multiple movies, you're making seasons of TV.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Star Wars is never going to be Marvel. It's never going to get to the point where you can do 3 movies a year and 3 series a year. It's just not going to get to that point. I don't think. I mean, no. I can't imagine.
No.
And so you also, as a Kathleen Kennedy, only have so much bandwidth to give to these things. So you really have to be picky about who we giving a trilogy to. Because if we give a trilogy to someone, that cuts off 3 other avenues of movies that we could do. Like that's taking up a lot of real estate. So that's why I'm shocked.
Who other than Rian Johnson could do a trilogy that you would sort of be looking, that you would trust? You know what I mean? Like it's like Filoni, I think, is doing this Mando and Grogu movie and his Heir to the Empire movie to sort of like ease maybe into the territory of being a George and making writing all 3 of the films, right? Maybe a lot of interconnective tissue.
Yeah.
I would trust Charles Soule to write a
Me too. Agreed.
Oh, that's a good call.
Agreed.
Yeah, Soule would be awesome. Yeah.
I mean, Claudia Gray. Like, I know they're not like script writers per se, but like
they can be.
I don't know. They're amazing writers.
Yeah, you pair him with someone who is, and they'll be fine.
Timothy Zahn. Like, I mean, he's probably not in the mood to do that, but spend the next 10 years of his life doing that. But I don't know. There's great Star Wars writers out there, great ones that haven't made films yet. I mean, I don't know. I'm Kinberg. Like, well, let's see what he does. Like, maybe this is his moment. I feel like Lucasfilm tries to buy as you're getting to the peak of your powers. They want to get you on your upswing and maybe get your best thing.
I remember we were talking about Mangold's hit to miss ratio earlier, more hits than misses.
Yeah,
Simon Kinberg's on the other side, right, where I think he said more misses than hits, but that doesn't mean he's only missed, right? Like he has hits, and so there's not reason to think that Star Wars isn't going to be the ones that he hits, right? Like it's not like I'm not going to.
He's also like a script doctor. He does a lot of coverage for people and gives them their scripts back and sort of helps the studios out. And then he's worked with Filoni on Rebels. Like you got to look at like this interconnected network of sort of like the story group and Filoni and Kinberg and everyone who worked on Rebels and that sort of group, and the animated shows. Like don't discount all the people who worked on the animated shows. They're telling Star Wars stories. They know the form factor, they know the structure, they know how to set up scenes, how to establish stuff the way George did, and they sort of want to continue that sort of craft and that school of thought. It's the George school of thought. And I would almost love a wild break from all of that and like a Christopher Nolan sort of like standalone trilogy that's just like this wild departure from everything we know. And it's almost like I'm just using Christopher Nolan as
but isn't that Tony Gilroy? Right, like that's why that worked. Because we took someone in who's just like not Star Wars at all,
like
and it
wild
worked.
Departure. That's a perfect.
But I like that. That's why I'm supporting your argument. It's like let's get someone in who's not part of the fold, just to shake it up a little bit.
Completely shake up the fold. I would really like that. Quite a bit. So that's sort of where I go with wishes for the company and for the direction of the new film, essentially.
If that's pie in the sky, Nolan would be insane.
It's interesting, but he's going to be too busy making a Bond movie for Amazon.
Oh gosh, they're gonna back up the Brinks.
Yeah, I mean he almost did it, but they wouldn't give him final cut. And,
I mean he just all his movies are
Amazon's going to give him final
movies
cut
already, so it's like it's just basically he gets to put his panache on.
Or they're going to give Spielberg the money because Spielberg's always wanted to do one.
Really, but he no, I've heard Nolan actually romanticize about Star Wars before in a couple different interviews.
Give it to him. I'd like to see what he would do.
He says he saw it and it changed his life, and it was like a major film for him, like just a major movie going experience for him. Like basically made him fall in love with movie making.
Then maybe he should follow his heart and do that. I mean, can't always
just to see a different tone, just to see a different style, and maybe just see like a radical new expression of what the original trilogy was to a kid in like 1977. Like that's almost what I want to see is like a sort of radical new expression of what maybe like your idea of Star Wars is to you.
I got a wild one.
What he did for Batman. I mean,
and that's Batman to Christopher Nolan, right? And I don't know if I want. And like again, I'm thinking more of Interstellar, and I'm thinking more of Tenet, and I'm thinking more of like movies that are just like could be Star Warsian in terms of like playing with really cool forces, special effects, and then mythology, time, space travel.
I got a wild one, but I have logic behind my wild one. David Fincher. So, hear me out. One of the first movies that David Fincher ever worked on was Return of the Jedi. He was working on Return of the Jedi.
Was the art department for that? Or
I think so. Secondly, his first major movie took on a franchise, was in space, and was a huge failure because the studio took it away from him, and he hates that ever happened to him. So he can come back to that was Alien 3. Come back and be like, change the narrative. Like, look, I made a Star Wars and it's amazing. So who cares? I don't care what you have to say about Alien 3. That's my pick.
I love it.
Give him the Sith. Give David Fincher the Sith. Like, come on.
David Lowery. I mean, he worked on the Skeleton Crew. I love The Green Knight.
You're preaching to the choir, man. I want like a Luke Skywalker acid trip by David Lowery. Like,
I love it. Yeah.
I just heard a rumor that Osgood Perkins, like, not a rumor, but there was some sort of like interview where he was like, I want to do a Darth Vader movie or a series of episodes about Darth Vader's nightmares, like in dreams and trauma. And I was like, whoa, that's intense.
Heavy. It's heavy. Yeah. I like it though. That's an interesting.
People want to play in this space is all I'm saying. I think people do want to play in this space. I guess it's fun to talk about the weight of a saga, right? And where would a saga go? Who would develop a saga? And Rian Johnson's like the only person that comes to mind. And J.J. Abrams was basically the first person chosen, and a new person needs to be chosen at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did Long Legs, Hansel and Gretel. I haven't seen The Monkey yet, but I've heard things about it. Sorry, it's my official review. I'll watch it though. It's based on a Stephen King novel, so or a short story.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's been in a bunch of interesting things.
Yeah, started out as an actor. I mean, he did play young Norman Bates in Psycho 2.
Psycho 2.
Well, his dad's Anthony Perkins, so
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that call.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was just a news bite I heard, but it's just telling me that like people, creatives, want to work on a Star Wars, and but I just don't know who's a saga person. Kinberg, I guess, is the newly announced saga sort of showrunner mastermind, right? Which is like, you need that in Star Wars. I think you need the grand architect of the entire trilogy. I don't think you can do it, yes, you can change up the director. That is not a problem at all. That's what George did.
Yeah.
You essentially just have to craft the one group of people, a single person, a writing partner, a duo, just need to outline all three movies, and then you can hire different directors to basically
and one should be
add their vision to it. And Rick Famuyiwa should definitely do one for sure.
How that name not come up?
Rick Famuyiwa would be a great pick.
Yeah, it's a bummer too, because he got moved off of Star Wars to do the Children of Bone and Something trilogy for Disney, which is a really great series of young adult novels. And then I think that just disappeared. And so it just feels like he was shunted over to something that went away. And I just don't know what's going on with him right now, because he was so good. The stuff was so good.
You'll never be able to take away his Mando episodes from me, because
that's the thing. Yeah. Good.
Let the man cook.
Bryce Dallas Howard's also pretty in there in
Yep.
terms of the storytelling network that's at
for sure.
She would be.
I wonder if Ron would
definitely helm a big thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, you also have, I don't know. I think she's really cut her teeth and done her own thing and made her own mark in terms.
I'm not trying to take away from Bryce, but like, but I was just thinking,
right? You have the backing of Ron Howard is there. I come into set now and again and being like, this is amazing, and then
but like, what if he did his own at one point too? Like, they get each, I don't know. You're like, Ron gets one from the start.
He's curving into maybe like Doc World. I don't know what he's doing now.
Yeah,
what is he doing?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying, but Bryce definitely would be sick.
Bryce could definitely lead a trilogy.
Yeah, she's, again, we've talked about it many times, but from like going from my least favorite episode of season 1 of The Mandalorian to like my favorite episodes of every other season that she's worked on is like,
I think she brings like an earnestness that's and I honestly like. There's she could bring a new earnest feeling to Star Wars that makes it like really feel like a fantasy, and feel like an adventure.
Her visual stylization is amazing too. Like, as much as I'm not the biggest fan of that the first season one, it has less to do with her directing and more to do with the story in that one. But like the seed of the ATST in the woods, like red eyes is just.
I wasn't a fan of that episode at first. On the rewatch, that was actually
I love how it looks. I love how it's directed when I watch it.
It fired me up on the rewatch. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because like the stuff with Cara Dune is funny, and then like Grogu with the soup.
There's great moments in that.
All right, what new? No, that was so funny. What new creative could be announced at Celebration?
New creative.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about a lot of people that have been associated with the galaxy far, far away.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro. I mean, you're the one that mentioned Christopher Nolan. That would be
there's no place. No way. He's doing the Odyssey right now. He's busy.
He's very busy. Very, very, very busy. Yeah.
No, Del Toro, right? Like, that's low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Are we going to get what's his name? Quentin Tarantino's 10th film? We're going to get
it's Star Wars.
There's no way.
Nah, it'll be a Star Trek. He's been trying to do that Star Trek movie forever.
I know, but like, what if it just flips and he can't get a Star Trek, so he's got to do it? I mean, a standalone Star Trek is definitely what what he should do.
What about Ari Aster? He's moving away from horror.
No way. Is he really? He's going into Western.
I think, I guess it'll be like a very disturbing Western, I'm sure.
You guys are picking like just very prominent I would say like auteur directors, which I'm like, that's kind of not in the stable of Disney. Like this one, like they're kind of grabbing inwards from their incubator on the Mandalorian, or they might reach for someone out there. I'm just trying to think who that could be.
I'm like trying to work my way backwards.
Yeah,
what movies have I really enjoyed that are kind of like
movies that people really like?
Yeah, he'd never do it, but Spielberg would be like kind of great if he just like he's like, I'll check in on a Star Wars.
He's getting to the age where I feel like he's just gonna do, like he's gonna pull something like that, where he's just like, I want to do like, because like the fact that like he finally did West Side Story, which he's been talking about doing a musical forever, and then did it and like knocked it out of the park, and then he did it, and then he did his like This Is Me as a Kids movie, and I feel like he's just gonna be like now gonna be like, I'm ready to take on a Star Wars or a Bond or something, just be like watch me cook, like just like I want to do one more big thing.
I don't know if he'd do that because he's such close friends with Lucas and just be like, I'm not gonna like.
I think Lucas would be like, do it, George, like or do it to Steve, right? Do you think?
Yeah,
I don't care, do it.
George would be the wildest pick, right?
Yeah,
George makes a Star Wars for Disney.
You never know, but probably
Legacy of the Wills.
Oh my God, stop!
You started this, Grant. Yeah, we're just thinking.
No, I love the spitballing because I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this the Shawn Levy's already off the table, and I'm surprised that was even like a pick in the first place. But,
speaking of Shawn Levy, there's always David Leitch, who's I'm not the biggest fan of, but is like proven track record of successful big movies, right? He had Deadpool 2. Let me just keep going back to Deadpool's. Atomic Blonde, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, John Wick, Bullet Train. Like he knows stylized action. I don't love half of those movies. He did do Nobody, which I did love.
Actually, I love that dude because we have been talking about how there should just be a pure action movie, Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Like Jason Statham, like whatever sort of
the Fall Guy, which has its moments.
I don't know. I mean, it's just like dumb fun for people like me that just like, want to turn their brain off and watch a stupid action movie.
It's just something I could totally see them doing, right? Like I don't know if I love it, but I could totally see them like we're scooping this guy up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be fun. You're thinking hard, Grant. I can see.
I am.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking hard.
You're close. You're close to something.
I'm very close.
You only come up with so many more bad ideas before you. You're like, come on, we need you here.
No, I know. I'm just.
I mean, David Lynch is gone, so we're not getting our David Lynch Return of the Jedi finally.
Yeah, that one crossed through my mind as well.
What about Fede Alvarez?
Oh, you know what's funny? I was
do a Star Wars.
I was thinking about funny. I almost backed into that too because I was thinking about the last Evil Dead Rise, which is not him, but is based on his universe. But that plus Romulus, that'd be interesting. Like he knows how to do. He's been working in
he's been
established
doing bigger IP essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like the biggest IP is Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I like you guys are leaning into like horror because like Star Wars, when it's coolest, is horror adjacent.
Yeah,
and I feel like some
weird
of that,
and gross. Yeah,
weird and gross, and like occasionally violent. Yeah, and like it's like
a scary. Be afraid to get weird. That's for sure.
You can't fear. Yeah, and I mean, I just let us not forget like watching as kids watching Star Wars and watching a dude's like arm get chopped off, and then showing that arm on the ground,
bloody arm.
That happened. Like that was upsetting.
It was real. That was things went on, and like the Rancor, and like those things were terrifying.
Yeah, totally.
Or tangible physical threats, huge stakes.
Yeah,
trash
compactor.
Dark Lord of the Galaxies, your dad, like major problems. Like it was big. Star Wars was big. It was scary.
Yeah, it was. Star Wars scared me as a kid. I loved it, but I loved the scariness of it. Yeah. I remember being afraid of that stuff. I remember going to bed being scared because of Darth Vader and loving it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's haunting, and it's like a fun scared too. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like scary Dark Lord. Like it's a perfect level of scare where it's like, again, we're not talking about like actual horror films. We're talking horror adjacent. We're talking like there's some level elements of horror and sublime horror and stuff. Yeah, sure. That's good Star Wars.
Cool. All right. Why don't we wrap it up? This was a really fun conversation. I'm glad this came about, and I always love thinking about the future and new titles. Next week, I think we're going to talk about that novel.
Yeah,
Master of Fear. Yeah.
I just looked at the audiobook. It is doable. The time on it is not that bad.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. It's 15 hours, but at double speed, that's 7.5 hours.
I'm gonna savor it like a fine wine over the next few days, and really excited about that, because I've seen a lot of buzz online, obviously without like clicking down into it because I don't want to get spoiled. But people seem super excited about that novel, and it and what I've read just briefly is like they're talking about things that should have been talked about 50 years ago, and it's kind of amazing. So really cool stuff. So we'll talk about that next week, but thanks for hanging out with us at the old virtual cantina. We really appreciate it. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week on Cantina Chronicles.